What is conservation?
Well, conservation is basically means to conserve, which means to keep, or in some cases to protect.
Conservation is basically the opposite of development, almost like saved or not used land.
Conservation plan, management of natural
Conservation is important because if you use too much of something, then when it eventually runs out, you'll be in trouble. And also, it helps your mind thinking of new resources and new products that you can use to benefit your everyday life.
Personally, I believe economic development will be more important because it is opening up more job
I
opportunities.
believe in economic development because there are more important things that we do need economically more than we need to conserve.
If you economically develop, you could be destroying animal habitats, animals themselves, and you could be destroying a lot. But if you conserve it, it can grow and
Because if
become
you
something
save
new.
the land, then it will lower like landfills, a whole lot of trash around.
Finally,
and things like that.
what's most important to you, conservation or economic development?
both because they are used in like the real world, and we have to use these things to to like get a job and stuff.
From my experience, I chose to focus on reading comprehension, coding text to promote critical thinking. My name is Dennis Henderson, and this was conducted while we were preparing for this year's mock trial competition. The classroom environment in which I worked in is Manchester Academic Charter School, which is located on the north side of Pittsburgh in the community of Manchester. The grades at Manchester Academic Charter School are grades K through 8, and max is 98% African American. The target population I've worked with is the 6th through 8th grade social studies class, in which I have students of a wide range of ability, from gifted to those with learning disabilities and IEPs. This is the third year in a row that we've conducted a mock trial, and each year we've learned that our students are capable of litigating very complex cases. However, we have found consistent problems with them getting through the reading comprehension portion, and I made this the goal this year to focus on getting our students to read the materials better independently. In order to prepare for this mock trial, I focused on using vocabulary strategies, utilizing questioning the author, annotation and marginalia, direct examination, open-ended questions, jigsaw strategies, and character maps. For the vocabulary, I chose to use knowledge rating charts, and prior to reading, students would complete a knowledge rating chart and give me a baseline of how much they understand, whether it's they've seen the word before, if they can pronounce the word, if they can use the word in the sentence, if they know the definition of the word, and they'll check off on each box which correlates to their level of understanding. After they did this independently, they broke into small groups and shared what they knew of the vocabulary terms, and finally we came together as a class and we discussed the terms, and I wrapped up everything to make sure that they had all the correct definitions and usages for this particular task. The next strategy that was implemented was questioning the author, also known as QTA. This requires students to pose queries while reading and respond to them so that they can showcase their understanding to themselves. Our students have been using QTA since kindergarten, and it's something that we've been practicing at the school to the point where they are now comfortable with utilizing QTA independently. Those that still struggle with it, I did make it a point to meet with them and work with them more in depth. After students were done reading, or as they read, they were also required to highlight, take notes, or draw images to help demonstrate their understanding, also known as marginalia. Students were also required to notate or annotate a summary of what each paragraph meant on the side of the paragraph so that they can use this as a point of reference anytime they have to go back to their notes. As an informal assessment of their understanding, Carl Cooper, the attorney that I work with, formulated a few direct examination questions. These direct examination questions allowed us to assess how much they did understand and also allowed them to self-check one another. The students that were asking the questions were the same students that was practicing with that particular witness, and if there was any inconsistency in the answer from one of their classmates, they were required to go ahead and assist them at coming to a conclusion of what the correct answer is. This seemed to work well with the students in regards to honing in on particular witnesses that they were assigned. We then had all the students come together that were studying the varying witnesses, and for the first time they would then practice the protocol of the courtroom and have an opportunity to hear all of the information that each witness had to share. From this point, students were able to correlate what witnesses were supporting one another and what witnesses would be on the other side of the courtroom from them. And also they began to recognize the differences of the stories as far as what relevant information they had and what was supported by other witnesses as well. Finally, continue to use these mixed groups. They developed character maps of the various witnesses, finding the strengths and the weaknesses of the varying witnesses, getting a better grasp of the background and the personality and persona that this witness would have, so that the students can have a better understanding of the character, not only for the reading comprehension, but also so that they can actually become that witness if called upon. Implementing these strategies, this year's mock trial was a huge success. Judge Joe Williams of Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas stated that he was very impressed with the knowledge that these students possessed of the materials that they had for them. Overall, my DYO experience was a very good experience for myself, in which I learned to utilize a number of tools that I never attempted to implement before. This has brought to my awareness the need to continue to implement various strategies to help students comprehend, and that results are very evident when you do implement different techniques.